guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're already subscribed, welcome back. And don't forget to like, share, ring the notification bell so that when I post new videos, you're first to get notified. And if you are here, you watch the videos, you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so that you are up to date with new content. And let's get to it. So today's video, I'll be talking about things you should know before you visit Tanzania. So as many would have known already, or some don't know, Tanzania is one of the most frequently visited country during the summer. That is because Tanzania has a lot of sites like safaris to see. There is Mount Kilimanjaro, for those who don't know, because I've been getting okay. There are some people who don't know that Mount Kilimanjaro is actually in Tanzania, because most of them know that the Mount Kilimanjaro is in Kenya. Of course, there is a small part of it which can be seen from Kenya, but the most part of the Mount Kilimanjaro is found in Tanzania. And normally people visit this time of the year, like from June to October for the summer periods. And then they go to a lot of places, like to see national parks, like for the safari. Some go to Zanzibar, where you find the most beautiful beaches in the world, and some goes to climb the Mount Kilimanjaro. So it is best if someone knows before they go. There are things like, if you go to any country, it's best that you know things which you find there, or you know things which you have to prepare, so that your travel can be as peaceful as possible without the shenanigans which you find there. So I have prepared this video to let you know of the things which you should know before you visit to Tanzania, or while you are in Tanzania for your safari or your vacation or business trip, something like that. So I have with me here things which you should know before you visit in Tanzania. Also, first of face, when you visit, so the first thing which you have to know is, when you visit Tanzania, you have to get a visa. So either you're going for business or you're going just for vacation or leisure, you have to have a visa. Now, there are conditions to get visa, and there are some countries which do not require visa to go in Tanzania, and there are some countries which you need only visa on arrival. So countries like the US, Canada, Australia, these ones, they require only the visa on arrival. So, and normally the cost is $50 for one entry, and $100 for multiple entries. And there are countries which are in the Eastern African communities, such as Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi. These ones, they do not require the visa to visit Tanzania. So what is required, I think in the border they will just show their national IDs or passports. And there are other countries in Asia also which do not require visa to visit in Tanzania. So if you're going, maybe you should check it out, if your country requires a visa to visit Tanzania or not. And there are some things which you should know before you ask for the visa. One thing which is very important is your passport has to have like 6 months before expiring date, or like according to the date you are going to go in Tanzania. So at least 6 months. My advice is at least 8 months. It's better like that. And know that when you have the visa for Tanzania, which is for leisure or for vacation, you cannot do anything there like working or volunteering. So if you say like, oh, I will go there and then I will go in those NGOs and volunteer in orphans or something, you are not supposed to do that. So a special requirement, a permit is required for that. And for other countries which, as I said before, do not require entry visa, they have to get an entry permit before entering the visa. So if you are going with your agency, it is better to ask and be clear on that. I think they will tell you most of the things in the agencies. Or if you are going solo, you can just check out in the website for like your embassy in Tanzania, or just the government of Tanzania, and so you can see the conditions to visit and something like that. And the second thing I would like to talk about is language. So Tanzania is home to 120 tribes, so you can imagine the vernacular languages which are spoken there. So each tribe has their own language. But us as a country, we speak main two languages, which are official languages, which is Swahili and English. Where Swahili is mostly spoken by everyone, even children. English is mostly spoken by people who went to school because we use English in school. So expect that you go some places where people don't even speak one word of English. It is normal, and some places people will speak English and you'll be shocked that it's not even UK. So it is important to know that in terms of language, it goes both ways. Some places you might find, most tourist areas, you find people who speak English, and some parts maybe people won't be able to speak English. So just to interact with the community and the people, it would be nice to know a few words like greetings, like mambo, habari, something like that, so that you are able to interact and with the community. So it's very important to know that those are the main languages in Tanzania. Now the third thing is money. So Tanzanian currency is Tanzanian shillings. So the only money which is used for all transactions and buying and selling in Tanzania is Tanzanian shillings. So probably you are coming from the US or you are coming from Europe and you have your euros and dollars. So maybe some don't know that, because in some countries in Europe you could use the euro, or some countries you could use the dollar, but in Tanzania it's not the case. So the only currency which is used is Tanzanian shillings. And if you have your dollars, not to be worried. So there are banks like Exim, Barclays, CRDB, National Bank of Commerce, Standard Chartered. So those are the banks which you can also do changing, like Bureau de Change. You can change your currency. Also, there are centers where you can change your money. Also, in those banks, you can use your card if you have a Visa or MasterCard. So nothing to be worried, but you should know that when you are there, you have to change your money in Tanzanian shillings so that you can able to access all the services. And one thing I want to remind you is when you are in Tanzania, and not only for tourists, also for us locals, we don't walk around with a lot of money. Like say I'm just going in town and I have $1,000 with me. It's not a good idea, because you don't want to be a subject of robbery or something like that. So when you're there, be careful with the way you keep your things and your money. This applies even to us locals. We don't walk around with a lot of money, and it's not only Tanzania. It's not an African thing, because normally people, when they ask me, okay, Penina, so we want to go to Zanzibar this time, so what security measures can you tell us? Like, will we be robbed? And then I'm like, no, it's not possible. So it's just in the same as any countries. You can be robbed in any country, guys. It doesn't mean to be Africa. Just because people are Africa, then they are thieves. It's not true. You just have to be careful everywhere you go, be it Europe or anywhere. Don't walk around with a lot of money like that. So as far as money is concerned, otherwise you will have to have a story to tell when you're back home. And another thing is health and vaccination. So normally when you go in Tanzania, you would need to take some vaccinations, and the most common thing which a lot of tourists or visitors in Tanzania, like coming from outside of Tanzania, they are always worried. I was speaking to some woman and she was like, I would like to go to Tanzania, but I have 2 children and they can't even be bitten by mosquitoes, because one bite they just get malaria and it gets so hard to have the treatment or something. And Tanzania is, some of you know or some who do not know, it's a tropical country, so the climate there is tropical, so it's a mixture of cold and heat, or cold and hot season. So mostly it's not so chill and it's not so cold and it's not so hot, so in the middle. So it is so prone to insects and flora and fauna which are not found in other parts of the world. So malaria is a common thing there, and for us Africans, I don't know, it's something we were born with. We are born like malaria is there. So for some reason the bodies have adapted to the environment, and they created this some sort of immunity. So even if you get malaria first, you can even cure it with only drinking water. Because I remember when I was small, when you used to get malaria, my dad would say, that is the water issue, you don't need to go to hospital and get the medicine. So he would just keep like liters of water, and you have to drink like many liters in a day, and then that is it. But it's different for other people who are not from there. So and you can die actually, like with only malaria 2 days or 3 days, you're not treated and your body is not used to that, you just die. So that is the thing. If you want to get anti-malaria vaccine or something like that, but if you are there, normally we have in most houses and probably most hotels, you will be there, you will find mosquito nets, and then anti-repellents for, and then the room will be just sprayed with mosquito repellent. So nothing to be worried about, but you have to know that that is the thing which you mostly likely to get there, especially if you are going in the safaris and some places where there are animals and plants and something like that. And also if you are coming from okay, there are other vaccines like for yellow fever, typhoid, tetanus, meningitis, but those are not so much required when you are visiting Tanzania, but only if you are passing through Ethiopia and Kenya. So if you are passing through those two countries before entering in Tanzania, it's best that you get those vaccines, because probably they will ask for the certificates for those. That is because those countries are prone to those type of diseases like typhoid and something is much common there. So that is my advice for you. You can also talk to your doctor before going. Like when you are planning your trip, you could just talk to your doctor that I'm going to this country, maybe not Tanzania, also maybe Kenya. Then the doctors would advise like take this vaccine or something like that. So that is it. And another thing is, the important thing also is to know when is the best time to visit Tanzania. So normally people start going there. It depends on where they want to go and what they want to do. So there are times here I've written like from, if you want to go to the safari, the best time is January to March, also June to September. So there are some people who prefers the January to March, because January to March is, some parts of Tanzania rain is stopping, so there is that like spring weather, so people prefers to go there, and then you see those greens in the safaris, animals which are healthy and something like that. And then in the June and September, which is the wet season, so for people who wants to see the wide migration, there is a wide migration in Tanzania. So I will talk about it in another videos, in another video which will talk about things which you can see in Tanzania, because if I combine it here it will be too long. And then there are those people who wants to climb the Mount Kilimanjaro. The best time for you will be all the time of the year, but you have to be cautious of the rainy season, which is normally okay, the southern part of the rainy season is from October to end of January, but in the coastal part, which is Dar es Salaam and other parts which there is the ocean, they have two rain seasons. So we have that one of October to end of January, and then there is another one which usually start March, February, March, and to April, May. So if you want to climb the Mount Kilimanjaro, you have to take notice of that, but you can climb the mount in any time of the year. And if you want to watch birds, there is something called bird watching, where they see a lot different kinds and types of birds. That is through from October to April, so that is the best time for you to go. And then if you want to see Zanzibar, which is the most beautiful place in the world for the beaches and this kind people, this nice atmosphere, and if you want to see Dar es Salaam, which is this city life and all sort of things, those ones are open for the whole year. You can go January, you can go March, you can go December. or throughout the year. So that is the thing. When you're planning your trip, you should know the season so that you have a pleasant visit. It wouldn't be nice that you are going there and all the time it is raining, you can't even go anywhere. So that is very important. Another one is security. I have touched on it before, but one of the other questions which I'm always asked, like they're like, so Penina, I want to go to Tanzania, especially people who have not traveled to Africa before. And it baffles me sometimes when people think that Africa is a country. Yeah, it's not a country. It's a continent with many countries, and sometimes something which you will see in Somalia is not something you will see in Kenya, or something which you will see in Tanzania, or something which you will see in South Africa or Morocco. So it's not a country, it's a continent with many countries inside. So keep that in mind also. So when you talk about security, I know people have seen civil wars in Somalia, something in Nigeria or something. Now, since for them Africa is a country, they think it's the whole thing which is like that. So I've been asked, so do you have wars? Like, do you have civil wars in Tanzania? And I'm like, no, we do not. We were lucky enough, and God is faithful. We have not had any civil wars or any wars. So I want to assure you, like when you're going to Tanzania, you would not expect something like that. That is because the government has made sure that anything which will contribute to civil wars, be it tribalism or something, does not have a place in the country. And us as citizens also, we make sure that something like someone from other tribe or from other language will not come and destroy our peace just because he feels like their tribe or something is more important than others or something like that. So we as citizens, we also make sure that our country remain as peaceful as it can, and God is also in control. So I want to assure you, in terms of war, something is not there. Now, there is other terms of security, which is like, oh, will I be robbed when I'm there? Like, of course, you'll be robbed even if you are not a visitor, even if you are not a tourist, only if you do things which attract people to do that. So, let's say you are walking in the beach and you are carrying $2,000 or euros with you, and you are it is just there showing. I think it is you who is calling people to rob you. So that can happen anywhere in the world. And let's say you are somewhere and you are new there, you are just walking there alone, no one is there. It's not so good. So in terms of security, we can also be the reason for not being safe in a place. So I want to tell you that you just have to be careful. If you went with a group of people, make sure that you stick with the group of people. If you notice something strange, if there is a group leader or the agency which brought you, I'm sure you have the tour guide, you have to tell them and say, like, I'm seeing this and this and it's a bit strange to me. So that will help out in terms of security and safety during your trip in Tanzania. And there's also another thing, which is local customs. And so this is a bit tricky, but not so tricky as how it is. But okay, when you're in Tanzania, it's not like when you're in Europe or in other countries, or even in other African countries like Kenya or something, which is a little bit modernized. Tanzania is a very conservative country, so there are things which, if you do there, people find it strange, and probably if you want to interact with the locals, it will be very hard for you. One thing which may strip you of the pressure to interact with the locals is the dressing code. So okay, when we see white people or we see tourists, we know these are tourists because first, they don't speak our language. Even if they try to speak Swahili, they speak it in a fun way, so we know it. Okay, it is understandable, but there is a level to the dressing code. I know people likes to wear shorts, and we see that a lot, but there are these shorts which are too much, like you can see the buttocks and everything like that. So okay, we will say that they're just tourists and they're white people or something like that, but in reality, people will not be able to interact with you because clothes and dressing plays a very important part in Tanzanian culture. So when you are there, if you can just wear decently, you can wear the shorts. They don't have to be necessarily showing the buttocks and all the chest out, but you can wear a short and be still decent. And I always tell people, like, to look good, you don't have to show everything. You can still look good while being decent. And I understand people will say, like, it's too hot or something. Like, sometimes heat is not a justification for someone to leave everything out, because even in the middle of that heat, there are other visitors and tourists who wear something decently. So my advice, not to be the object or subject of hate and looks and something like that from people, just wear decently. It's better like that. And another thing is foul and offensive languages. So, like, as a country, we don't use offensive and foul languages like cussing and something like that. So if you are there, even if a place people don't speak English, but they know when you cuss, like, you are, like, if you are saying the F word and then like the B word or something, we understand that even if some people don't speak English. So when you are there, just watch your language and tone to people. We as Tanzanian or Tanzanian people are very calm, and you can see the way they talk. They don't shout, they don't speak loudly. So if you are there and then you are shouting, maybe it's your culture. Okay, people may get it wrong, like maybe for you you're just trying to explain, but in the voice which is for us is like you're shouting or something like that. So it will be good to tone it a little bit down, because they say when you go to Roman, you do what the Romans do. Another thing is it was the safety measures when we are there. Well, that will be all. So if you are going to Tanzania, I want to say that you will have the best time of your life, and some will have maybe not the best time of of their lives, and that is because we differ in terms of the way we take things. Some will enjoy seeing the things which they are seeing, and some will keep going in the YouTube videos, and some places saying like the country being poor and poor, or there's not this, there's not this, there's not this. Know that Tanzania is a developing country. It can't be like the US, it can be like Europe. It's a stage, it's going in stages. So I will hope you enjoy the positive sides of the country when you're visiting those beaches, safari, beautiful places, beautiful weather, beautiful people, and yeah, just be in the moment and take what you can, which is positive with you, and even the negative one, because sometimes the negative ones helps us to learn also. So that will be it for today, and catch me on the next one here from Italy. I say ciao ciao.